Hello, Anneke, Jan, welcome, and thanks for joining us. Tonight we're talking to Anneke Jacobs of Overberg MTB events and Jan Viljoen, the man behind Middelplaas. And we are talking about the Greyt Middelplaas Escape coming up this weekend, the 10th of April at Middelplaas. And to give us a bit of context around Middelplaas and where it is, Jan will take the lead there and we'll show you some routes and maps and give you some sort of idea as to where this all takes place. Jan Middelplaas, you're an avid mountain biker. What's the story? How did this come about? Maybe this is actually a question to Anneke.
Thank you, Jaco, and thank you for hosting this. I must say I'm very impressed with the way that you have handled the production so far, and also getting involved in the whole event. So I actually started Overberg MTB events a few years ago, and I've met Jan in the whip years ago at Greyton. We've been chatting, and Jan wasn't such an avid mountain biker then, but he's becoming one now, and he's shown a lot of interest in mountain biking and events. And there were some routes on his farm, and he just decided to take it a bit further and do an event on Middelplaas. So this is where we're starting right now for this year's event.
So, and this is the first time that that 90% of these routes effectively will be open to the public then.
Yes, so the previous year was the Greyt Escape. No, sorry, 2019 was the last edition of the Greyt Escape, and that was a 3-day stage race. But because of COVID and restrictions and uncertainties around events, we've decided to narrow down this year's edition and make it a 1-day event, which is easier to do last minute, to decide on, and also COVID regulations and everything. So, but Jan's got a very exciting route, and he's gone through a lot of trouble to make this all possible. So, thanks, Jan.
Okay, so Jan, so let's find out about Middelplaas and your interest in mountain biking and where does it all come from and why are you allowing so many people to come and ride all over your farm?
Yeah, Jaco, I started mountain biking, I would think about at least 10, 12 years ago. And it's mountain biking to me is being part of nature, and bringing all the people to the farm is actually, it's definitely, and I can promise you that it's not a money spinner.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of sharing what I've got every day with other people out there that really wants to get out. And it's difficult to get people 5 on a Saturday to come and ride, but to have an event, it's a 1-day thing, and you can really share what you've got with the rest of the people.
I think that's sort of, Jan, we need more people like you, because I think that's sort of the amazing thing, and that's why most of us get involved in the sport. But the fact that it's about sharing and it's about giving back in a way, of the bounty of nature and what's out there. I think if we could have more of you around, the community and certainly the sport would grow exponentially. So it's great to hear. Jan, where's Middelplaas?
Yeah, Jaco, we've been around on Middelplaas. I'm the 6th generation on the farm. So the farm has been in the family for ages, since the early 1800s, late 1700s.
Oh, wow.
We're about 16 kilometers, I would say, west of Greyton towards Viljoen. And next to the Riviersonend Mountains, and the Riviersonend River actually flows right through the farm. So on the northern side of the farm, we go into the fynbos of the mountains, and then on the southern parts of the farm, it's more like Karoo koppies type of thing, much drier Karoo type of thing. And then obviously we've got quite a few neighbors which I want to mention that's given us permission to go over their land for this weekend.
Okay.
everybody's thrown open their farms and yeah, to also just that same thing, to share what we've got. So yeah, that's roughly where we are. We're 25 kilometers from Caledon, and I think 32 kilometers from Viljoen.
Okay, right. So yeah, so then so but in the greater, greater, let's call it greater Greyton area, which obviously lends the name the Greyt Middelplaas Escape.
That's right.
In terms of the neighbours you want to mention, do you want to get into any details there, or is it just an overall sort of blanket thank you to everyone participating and
I really
opening
want
up?
to. I'm so scared that I miss somebody out.
Sure.
So I don't want to mention names.
Yeah.
But all my neighbours, really, I want to say a big thank you to them for letting us use their farm roads. Obviously, on their farms, there's a lot of jeep tracks and farm roads that we're using. And yeah, just a big thanks to them for letting us use it.
Excellent. Okay, so then in terms of sort of what the setup is that all the Greyton MTB routes sit around here. The blue one down here is the annual brewery to brewery that heads down to Sandbaai. I think it ends at Sandbaai. So this is then sort of an area that's not traditionally covered by the guys that go out to Greyton and Genadendal and so on. So new tracks, 90% sort of unused and or new to 90% of the population, really.
Yeah.
So there's a Anneke, there's a 60, there's a 40, there's a 20.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100%. Sorry, yeah, Jaco, that's right. I just want to mention that all the single tracks that we're using on Saturday is all on Middelplaas.
Okay.
And some of them has been used by the Epic in the past.
Okay.
Some of them has been used. The iconic climb up to the UFO has always been part of the Greyt Escape. I've got a long downhill single track on my farm that's been part of the Greyt Escape in the past.
Okay.
But as a combined route,
yes.
Apart from a few of us, I don't think anybody has rode it before.
Okay, right. Anneke, is our entry still open?
Entries are still open. I just wanted to add to what Jan was saying right now. In actual fact, the first encounter that we had was in Greyton, that we met each other years ago, and Jan just started opening up single tracks on his farm. Well, part of it. So it is it's a tough route. It's definitely a racy route. Lots of climbing, sketchy downhills. This is why we definitely decided to turn this into a race and not a tour, because it's not a tour. So the type of terrain and the whole profile lends itself to a race.
Yeah.
Just to say, this is a sanctioned event, a Cycling South Africa sanctioned event. And it's also one of the events that is a qualifier for Overberg cycling regional colours. This has just recently been introduced and announced. There will be a few more other events in the Overberg that will qualify, but this is the only event in the Overberg region that is on the Cycling South Africa calendar.
For Overberg colours at the moment.
At the moment, yes, and also for this weekend. We're trying. The Overberg has been, this side of the Overberg has not been developed and recognised, but I believe that we've done a lot of work to establish this, and it's going to turn out very good. So watch this space.
Excellent.
In future. Entries are still open. Sorry, I've just made this whole thing now, but entries are still open. It's closing tonight on online entries, closes at 10.
Okay.
Late entries, and this is purely for administration purposes. Late entries will be available. We have registration from 4 to 7 at Old Potters Inn on Friday. And no late entries on Saturday morning, but from Saturday morning 6:30 to 7:30, you can collect your boards at Middelplaas itself.
Okay. All right. So online tonight at 10, but then still an opportunity 4 to 7 on Friday evening at the Old Potters.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the Old Potters that's in Greyton.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Greyton.
That's
Old Potters in Greyton. Yes.
right. Okay, so that's the same. I think the old potters were what they used at the brewery to brewery as well.
That's right.
What you guys
That's
used.
the same one. Yes.
So, so Anneke, just sort of on that same topic, what are future plans for this area? I mean, you've obviously gone from the 3-day event last year, or 2019. Last year is obviously a bit of a mess for all event organizers.
Yes.
And then what does the future hold? I mean, clearly, if you look at the map here, there's still lots of unexplored spaces.
Yes. Jaco, I just want to add, obviously, with mountain biking and the evolving of trails, as we all know, it's a costly exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the Winelands area and those areas where the biking community is quite, large, you have big groups and cycling, like the Wannabes and Tigerberg. So they've got big clubs to support trail building. In this area, it's less. So it's really the passion of the landowner or few landowners that go into developing trails, but there are a lot of possibilities around this area. And as I said, this will definitely be part of a bigger picture next year. And we will possibly add on in 2022. The reason why we had the 1-day event is just because, just in terms of practicality at the moment and uncertainty of race villages and the possibility that the event can proceed. I mean, it's just 3 weeks ago that we got the approval from Cycling South Africa to say go ahead, and the numbers from the government.
Yes. Yeah, it does make it difficult to plan.
Very difficult to plan, but we've had a fantastic turnout so far. I must say, I'm really surprised. The numbers are looking really good.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes, so I believe we're one of the events that have the most numbers for this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's always a favorite. I think it's always a favorite to come out this way. And I think for good reason. I really think it does offer some unique elements, which maybe is where we need to chat to Jan again. I mean, I think no one obviously knows the area better than Jan does. Jan, in terms of the route, then, what do participants expect?
Okay, Jaco, just before we get to that, I just want to add to what Anneke says. I think there's a massive amount of opportunities specifically here around us. It's always difficult with landowners and things like that. But there are possibilities, and we're definitely going to explore it for the future.
Excellent, excellent.
But I don't want to make any commitments at this stage.
No, of course. I mean, look, you've often got to get a whole group of people to agree to something, and that's not at the best of times an easy task. So, but I think I do think I certainly support the idea that there's a lot of opportunities here, and where we can help, please let us know, and we can see what we can do to jump in as well. Okay, Jan, so let's chat about that 60k, 60 kilometers, roughly 1400 meters in climbing.
So the 60 and the 40, the 40 is going to do part of the 60. So if I'm just going to start adding the 40 where it links up with the 60 kilometers. So we're gonna start off at a nice spot on the farm next to a beautiful dam, and we're gonna have a nice festive atmosphere there. And we're gonna start off going through an orchard. Then we're gonna jump onto the Middelplaas gravel road for about 1 kilometer, just cross the bridge. Then we're gonna turn left towards Yalderstroom prison for about another kilometer, and then from there we turn off the main road and we go onto the farm roads, and then we're going to start our first technical Strava session that takes us right into the mountain. It's about, I would think, 6 kilometers.
Great section.
It's absolutely beautiful, but it's got a few. It's got quite a few steep downhills. It's quite technical.
So let's open it here quickly, and that will give us a bit of a because we've actually got that marked already. So there's where Jan is. So starting right about here
That's right.
is where that section, which we've called the technical master. So the technical master segment starts right over here, and it heads all the way around there, then back into this tight U-turn almost at the bottom here.
Yeah, that's right. Anneke has been there before. I think it's an absolutely beautiful piece right into the mountain.
Yes,
Um,
it is
it's
spectacular.
you need to be, when you start the downhill right up in the mountain, you need to be very cautious. It's a very steep downhill,
Okay.
but it is flowing. So if you want to really get a good time there, you have to position yourself very well, because chances of passing people on that single track is very, very slim.
Okay. So get in front before you hit this right turn, really.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Right.
Definitely.
Okay. And then coming up here,
Yeah,
this is fairly flat and so on.
Jaco, if we can just go back a little bit, where the Strava ends, where that Strava section ends, you go sort of north again. There where you make the U-turn at the top, just go a little bit further. Where you cross right there, you cross the little mountain stream. There's a bit of water there. It's not very deep, and you can easily cycle through that.
Okay.
And then you're going to come down back to the Yellowstrom gravel road for about 300-400 meters, and you're going to cross the river with new little bridges that we've made over the river there.
Yes, I must say thank you to Jan for that. Otherwise, we would have paddled through there. Some really nice bridges.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna come through some persimmon orchards, which will be new to some people because there's not a lot of persimmon fruit in South Africa. So there you go into persimmon orchards, and there where you meet that gravel road, the 40-kilometer meets up with you. So the 40 kilometer is not going to do the section up in the mountain.
Yeah.
And from here on, for the next few kilometers, the 40, the 20, and the 60 is going to participate in that. You'll see there's up that hill through the orchards, up that hill. It's also a Strava segment. It's quite a steep technical climb, but all the routes can participate in that in that segment, which I think is quite nice for everybody.
Yeah.
Very nice section.
So there's a nice climb here, which is common to all the routes.
Yeah.
And then from here,
from
the 20 and the 40 will go down here. Is that right?
No. The 20 will go down there.
Okay.
The 40 and the 60 is now on the same route.
Right. They carry on from here all the way to the end.
All the way to the. There's another loop that the 40 doesn't do.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
We'll get there. Yeah. Okay. So that's still single track. If you carry on, sorry, if you carry on the that is single track for another. When you get to the top at the end of the Strava segment, there's another kilometer of single track, and then it becomes right on top of that hills with a few quite punchy climbs. It's jeep track all the way
until we come down here.
Yeah.
So this we called Jansebolt because they.
I think we must call it Jansebolt because that's on the neighbors, but it's quite a steep one. That.
Okay, so we'll call it Jansebolt, but that's where there was a slight alteration to the route.
Yeah, but can we still change that Strava segment? So that I see it now. The start must be right at the bottom, at the top of the page now, the top of the screen.
Okay, let's go out a bit. So that's here.
Yeah, that must be the start.
Okay.
And the
right,
finish.
so we'll do the start all the way down to there.
Up. Down on the screen, but up on the hill.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. So
that is quite steep.
Yeah, so that will go all the way from there.
Yes.
So let's just find that. That's roughly here. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's dark blue like this, that means that it's a average gradient in excess of 5%. So that is certainly not flat.
No, it's most definitely not flat.
Okay, so we'll extend that one slightly. We'll move it back to that, and that will then make it roughly from 28.4 up until 29.7. So, but then you're still climbing. You're still not done.
No, but no. You must go to the end. The end of your current section is where the end is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one,
it's
yeah.
just going to end there.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that's from there on. You go into some grain fields, farm roads, Yaku, and there where that narrow piece is in the 60 route. That's where the 40 just links up there. The 40 doesn't do that loop.
Yeah. So that cuts out this section here.
That's right.
Yeah, and they come down here or down there.
They come down there. They straight there. They link up, and from there on, the 40 and the 60 is exactly the same.
Okay.
Sorry, Yaku, the thing that I totally forgot to say is before we get to that climb up at the Pier Orchard, sorry, forgot to say that now. Right at the bottom here, next to the road, right in that corner, a little bit to your left, that hand of yours, right there, we're going to have a water point number 1.
Okay. We'll make a marker of that, yeah.
So that's...
Okay. All right, so that'll be water point 1, and then they'll carry on with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I just want to tell the riders that they must fill up whenever they get a water point.
Okay. How many water points en route?
We've got 3 water points en route. We'll
for 60. For all of them, in fact.
Yeah, no, sorry. The 40's got 3, the 60's got 3, and the 20's got 1.
Okay.
Yes.
Am I right, Anneke?
Yes, you're right. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, okay. And definitely the water points shouldn't be missed.
No,
it's going to be warm and challenging.
Yes.
Right. Yes. And,
okay, so we've got that we've got Jan Sebolt, which will change to Jean Sebolt.
Yes.
And then Jan, you said there's a section here that we should add as well, which is what we've called COM1.
Yes. Yaku, sorry. Just before that COM1, go about right to the left of the picture now is a yard. We're going to have water point number 2 there, at that yard there.
Okay.
There are some nice blue gum trees there in the shade. We're going to have it there.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
Okay, so that'll be number 2, which will be relevant to 40 and 60.
That's right. Okay.
And then out of there, we make a sharp right here, and then a sharp left, and then that's the start right opposite the dam, or next to the dam.
That's right. Start there. That's also quite, Anneke, I think it's quite a punchy uphill that as well. The traction there might be a bit of a problem with some loose stones and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah.
But it is a Jeep track, so there's enough.
Okay.
You can give way. So
yes.
Fast riders can stay right and the slow ones can stay left.
Okay. All right. So that's a nice steep one, as you can see here, starting there and then heading all the way to the top there. And then a nice little breather coming all the way down.
That's right. Then we sort of stay on top and a bit downhill, and quite a nice downhill down to Pieter Jan Delpoort's yard. That's all farm roads and Jeep tracks, and yeah, it's actually more farm roads and Jeep tracks. And then from there we've got the Anneke, I think they call it the iconic UFO climb. There's been many. I
love that climb.
Yeah, there's been many events that's been up that route. It's a paved Jeep track that goes up. We call it the UFO, where our last water point is also going to be.
Okay, so that's all the way from down here. So that's where it starts, and that goes all the way to there.
That's right.
So that's a nice, if we have a quick look here, that's roughly from about 400 meters elevation up until about 600. So that's a 200 climb. And it's nice and steep by the looks of it, based on this. You said that's Jeep track, paved Jeep track, all the way?
All the way to the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So here we've got two-way traffic. Obviously, the last little section of the UFO is two-way traffic, and you said there that you want participants to keep right.
We participants, as they go up to the UFO, we've got two-way traffic. They must keep right, and when you come down they must keep right again. It's not an option to go there. You need to go up. And we're going to have water point number 3 up, physically up at the UFO, the much spoken of UFO.
Yeah,
We're going to go right to it this year.
Yeah, well, look, it's part of the route, and that's where. So that's both the 40 and the 60 that need to do that little last little section as well.
Yeah.
So in fact, you climb all the way. You got a little bit of a breather there, and then you do the last climb, and then it's downhill all the way home, really.
Yeah, you've got 2 little uphills down on the single track, but it's actually quite a breeze. It's a very nice single track that goes down all the way.
Okay, so right, but again, your challenge there is that if you're in the wrong position, you're probably not going to be able to pass. Is that fair to say?
That's very fair to say. The fast riders must obviously, if they want to go past, there are places where they can pass. They just please talk to the guy in front of you.
Yes. Okay.
And everybody will make way for you. Be nice, yeah.
So this is still Jeep track, and then from where do we start single track? Around
right
here?
There, right
okay.
There. That is
okay, so this is going to be single track all the way home, except for this section here, I imagine.
Yeah, that's also single track.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right next to the farm border there. Where if you go a little bit down, Yaku, there the single track ends. Go down more. No, sorry, not down on the page.
Oh, you mean in terms of...
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
The single track stops there, and from there it's farm road and Jeep track down to the Middelplaas road.
Okay, which is another 2 kilometers or so, and then you're home.
Then you're home, yeah.
Okay.
And then you're going to get a nice cool drink and something to drink. And
that looks exciting. And the fact that you've got 10 kilometers of single track here on a downhill is such. I mean, at the end of a race, I mean, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely.
What more could you ask for?
It is quite. Anneke, you must help me there. You've been there a few times.
Yes, I would like to add. It's not an easy single track, definitely. It is quite sketchy. The correct word or the term would be gnarly. Some pieces are off camber and sketchy. So and it's not smooth. So it's quite epic riding. You know, it's so I would obviously. I mean, the fast people will be in front by then, and the slower ones at the back. But it's not. It's definitely a challenge to go down that single track. So you've got to be careful.
Okay. Right, so a bit of a warning for that section then. Is there anywhere else on the route that one should be careful? Where you spoke about the first section here, where the technical section is. So it's obviously
quite a steep downhill up in the mountain, which I think is the most, if you want to call it, dangerous of the day. I would say that's the most dangerous.
That's this little section here.
That's right.
Yes, and also some of the Jeep tracks downhill are quite loose. So I would almost say like it does similar to Attakwas.
Okay.
Some of the sections, definitely the terrain. So just to be careful.
Right. Okay. Okay. So then we
sensitive riders.
Okay. So as you said, Jan, I mean the 40 follows, other than the little section in the bottom left corner on the map now, the 40 follows exactly the same route. So obviously the same applies. They skip the top part. They skip this northern part. And they skip this little section here. For the rest of it, the same. So they participate effectively then in this com, and they participate in the UFO extended UFO climb. They also participate in the Pear Orchard climb, but they don't do the technical, and they don't do Jean Sebald there.
That's right.
Okay, and then the 20.
The 20, Yaku.
Let's go back here quickly. I've got the 20 here somewhere. Here we go. Let's open that up quickly. Well, in fact, there it is. I mean, there's the Greyt 20, but let's make it a bit bigger, and we can quickly go into that. Okay, there it is. So on the numbers, then 20 kilometers, 400 meters of climbing. So it's not flat.
No, definitely not. Most definitely not. The 20 kilometers is going to start off the same than the 40 and the 60. And instead of turning left on the Middelplaas road, they're going to turn right, and then they're going to turn left into a field there where you were now. That round piece is single track. Are you there now, Jaco? Yeah.
Yeah, so they've got a nice climb to start with,
They've got a
all
nice
the way
climb
to
start
about
with.
6 kilometers.
Yeah. But it's quite, it's very doable. I know that the 20 kilometers is mostly your novice riders, but they're definitely going to enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's sort of the majority of it. Once you've done that, plus this little section here, there's a nice, easygoing in terms of at least altitude, or at least
Yes.
elevation. Then a little steep climb at the end, and then you're back home on another little bit of any technical or difficult sections on here?
Yes, Jaco, I would say that here, right at the bottom of the page, where they go into that single track. Yeah, that single track that you're on now, that is quite a downhill there. It's not too difficult. I think everybody can do it. Might be a few loose stones. And probably the 20 kilometer is going to do it before the 60 comes back there.
Yeah.
So that's what we hope for.
Mm.
So that's quite nice. It's got a, what's the English word for uitdaging? It's going to be a bit of
challenge. Yeah,
it's going to be a bit of a challenge for the for the 20 kilometers. But then it's nice flowing downhill around the persimmon orchard, and then they get that climb up in the pear orchard as well. And we specifically bring that in. It is difficult, and some of the people probably are going to push their bikes out there, but that's fine, because that's the sport that we do. We must learn that it's you're never too proud to be able to push your bike.
Yeah, look, what goes up must come down, and you know what goes down must come up, I guess.
Yeah. So and then that downhill is it's got a few very steep, very sharp turns, but it's very nice. It's very nice, and then you're home free all the way to the dam.
Yeah, all the way down. Yeah. Okay, it looks amazing. It really does look like it's a bit of everything, and there's some nice variety in there. Anneke, on the arrangements then, parking, or maybe Jan as well. I mean, parking regulations, masks on in the chutes, all those sort of things.
No. So just to say that we're very fortunate to have this event in a safe environment. And open spaces. So there will be COVID regulations. Each rider will receive a form that they need to fill out and just do the necessary COVID checks. The only part where mask will be required is on the podium. So we've received instructions on that. Otherwise, there's no need to put on masks when you have enough social distancing, and definitely not on a bike. The start shoots, the 60 will start at 8 o'clock, the 40 at 8:15, and then the 20 at 8:30, and the e-bikes after that. So although we've got enough riders, it won't be congested. So that is very fortunate with this event, that you don't have a race village, and you don't have you minimize the risk of any possible infections. But just to say, this is what makes this event and some of the Overberg mountain bike events so always so great and possible to host.
Sure. What time do you expect prize giving to be?
Well, we're aiming for 1. Look, it is a tough route. I know that there are quite a number of fast riders, young fast riders. So I always get it wrong with the aim timing or the timing that I've got in mind. But normally, people don't want to wait too late. You don't want to exclude some of the riders. But the winner in each age category will be called up and announced. And so we're going to have quite a busy podium with all the age categories.
Yes.
And also, I must say thank you, Jaco, for introducing Strava to this event and future Overberg MTB events. I think it's exciting. I think it's definitely something that most riders follow, and introducing segments makes it more fun, and it brings about a whole new technology and dimension to the sport of mountain biking.
I think you're 100% right. I think it does, and I think we also need to go back and revisit, and that's what Jan maybe started with earlier, is that we get into this for fun and to be outside and the social element, of it. And I think that often sort of gets lost in the racing side of it. And I think, obviously, although the racing element is important to a lot of people, for the majority of us, just completing the course and doing so in a good time is sort of what's important. And if we could win a segment or two and take home a nice hamper, it's like playing golf. You go home with a toaster and you've probably got a ticket for next weekend's ride.
Yes, I also think the Strava segments, I mean, I'm talking from my own experience, you always have that if you've downloaded the app, and you can always look back at that, and it really makes it interesting and fun.
Yes.
You often forget your time, but you always go back to Strava and you see if someone beats you on Strava, or you've got a really bad day or good
Yeah,
day. So it's really
absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, Anneke, Jan, thank you very much. Any concluding remarks or anything else you'd like to share that I maybe didn't ask? Or
No, I would just like to ask the riders that wherever they go on the route, there are two very important things. The one is look around you and enjoy it. It's absolutely beautiful. And the other thing is, please don't litter. If you lose a goo paper, stop and pick it up. If we want to do this in the future, we need to keep the routes clean. Please, guys.
yeah, I think that's a very valid point, and I think that sort of when people allow you to use their land, you've got to do so in a respectful manner. Obviously littering is not keeping in line with that. So I think guys, when it is a race, but ultimately, if we want to race in future, we need to leave it as we find it, and I think that's sort of the key.
Yeah.
Otherwise, permission for next year may not be granted, and that means we've got to go and redevelop and search for new routes, and that makes the entire experience, or the costs at least, skyrocket, and that's not ideal for event organizers or for participants, and at the end of it.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes,
well, guys, thank you very much. Anneke?
Thank you, Jaco. And just to say, from my side, also thank you to Jan for being part of this, and to the community, the Caledon community, the Caledon School that's been involved, and Altiwera. They're going to support the water points and help with the braai afterwards, with the hamburgers and the pannenkoeken. So
nice.
really nice, exciting, and the involvement of the community has been awesome. So thank you for that.
Excellent.
Makes
Great.
it special and different.
Absolutely right. So look up Anneke and Jan. They'll be at the event. Jan says he's also looking for some ideas on developing some other parts of the farm. So if you have some strong ideas about what can work, do look up Jan and make some suggestions to him. You never know.
Yeah,
Anneke, thank you. Jan, thank you.
Thanks,
thanks for
Jaco.
Have a good evening. We'll talk to you soon.
Looking forward
Yes.
to the weekend.
Excellent. We'll see you then.
All right.
Right.
Cheers.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.